They literally just think, oh, this guy just sits on stream all day and begs for money. That's not the case. 90% of the time, I'm barely ever mentioning anything to do with money. Unless someone asks me directly about it, then I'll make an honest answer. I'm usually paying attention to a game or answering questions or interacting with you guys that has absolutely nothing to do with raising any kinds of monetary value. But these people want to pretend like it is so that they can have negative things to say and spin it for drama purposes, because that's the kind of people they are. But there is nothing wrong with raising funds and making a living doing content creation. You are doing a service, and then if people optionally would like to, they pay for said service, just like if you were a waitress and waiter and did a great job at a restaurant serving your customer, they'd receive a tip. If you're a bartender and they do a really good job making your drinks, they receive a generous tip. Same thing on here. You come on a stream, someone's putting on a really entertaining stream. Wow, I had a really good time. Here you go. Please keep doing it. Thanks very much. That's how it works. But that's not what people think. That's just someone who just sits there begging all day. It's like, okay, that's really what you think. And you want to, make stuff up, go right ahead. But that's not the reality of stuff.
It's so lovely when you act like you love me. You must think it's funny when I smile your way. Honey, tell me, did you ever really love me? 'Cause as of today, it seems that you don't look my way. Once a rainy day goes by, sometimes your name crosses my mind, but it's all good. Said it's all good, 'cause it's so funny when you act like you love me. But you're so lovely, how could I ever look away?
Looks like our friend DSP apparently needs more financial support, as well as emotional support. You need to be there for him, despite the fact that he's married and he has a cat. But then again, he tried to get Jasper electrocuted recently. Keeps spraying him with the water bottle around electronics. Everything's on the floor. What would you expect? Either which way. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two videos that are going to make up our broadcast. As you guys know, this is a trying time for Phil. He needs financial support. Apparently, that whole situation with that exercise bike ain't working out, and so on and so forth. There's a bunch of theories on that. We'll tackle those in a future broadcast. The hardcore gaming season / hardcore begging season hasn't been working out very well since the Jasper reveal. It's a trying time. So I think for everybody here at GTG Networking Productions, we should give Phil a song for some comfort. But also to help, to be honest, it helps actually instill a lot of the issues that Phil is going through right now. At least most of them that are man-made, either man-made by him or pig-made by him, whatever, or manufactured in his own head. Because why wouldn't Phil do that? Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have two videos that will make up our broadcast. Both of them brought by Snort Burnell. First video. Let's see here. DSP, very, very nervous for next month. And toxicity drives away the paypigs. Which is funny because didn't he say that the more negative people are towards him, or to him, I should say, and the more negativity that is pushed towards him, the more that people seem to come out and support. Didn't he try to hit people with that reverse pignosis type bullshit to get them to continue to support him? And didn't he also, as part of that, he also said that, oh, these idiots come in and they keep giving me money to shit on me, man. It doesn't make any sense because I'm going to keep the money either which way. So, yet again, you've tried on purpose in a lot of ways to weaponize that same negativity and turn it into sympathy. Just like how you did with the emotes, those supposed negative memes that got this one guy killed, and now all of a sudden you're going ahead and trying to weaponize it and turn it and own it. triggered the libs, own the libs. So it's funny how we have all these different elements that are going around right now. Excuse me, that DSP is trying to use towards his advantage, but now he's saying that it's starting to drive away the paypigs. Huh. Interesting way of going about that. Second and last video of the broadcast, Snort Burnell, DSP, no more complaints about B3. And another drama video on him, or about him on YouTube, and I need a new laptop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I had already called that whole laptop thing back when we heard about the Amazon wish list. Eventually, there was going to be a new laptop. Eventually, the new consoles will be on there, and eventually, there's going to be a brand new desktop that's going to be added to it. Eventually, this is how the even flow is going to go. And it doesn't even just extend to Phil. Excuse me. Watch me work. If anything happens with Catherine, if Catherine needs something new for whatever reason, expect something to be thrown up on there too. Because he hasn't had a chance to really put Catherine out there in any way, shape, or form, at least as of late, to where he can drum up some sympathy off of her. So this would be a perfect opportunity. Oh yeah, you know, I'm really tight on money right now, and you know, my girlfriend, or sorry, not my girlfriend, my wife Kat, because I'm expecting him to slip up at least once. He hasn't done it yet, but excuse me, give him time. He's known to do it. I'm expecting him to be like, oh well, one of her Xbox controllers doesn't work, and I can't give her my controller because I don't know. He's gonna come up with whatever random reason for his controllers. To be honest, I would assume that his controllers aren't doing the best of shape now either. The reason why I say that is because, do any of you guys remember when the Nintendo Switch was being unboxed and set up, right? Does anybody remember that? I know at least a couple of you do. Well, remember when he was, it was on the second level of his entertainment center or TV stand, however you want to call it. And he reached into the back to pull certain stuff out because he was trying to figure out where he could put the Switch. And also he was trying to get to some of the wiring. And or cables, because his cable management is garbage. That's why everything is like spread out all over the floor and shit. He ends up reaching back there and he found a PS4 controller that he hadn't seen in forever. He didn't even know he had an extra PS4 controller. And it was completely gray. It wasn't black. It was gray. It was completely and totally encased, if you will. Mummified, if you will, in dust. He had no idea that it was even back there. And then had the nerve to say, well, you know, I should clean that up, but I'm not going to do it because that's what guys do. But then we just had the unboxing of the the Genesis Mini. And he told us that he cleaned that stand off, right? So he can go ahead and put the Mini on there. He said he cleaned it all up. Didn't show us that though. But he said he cleaned off the stand and everything. Come to find out, the Nintendo Mini is actually on the floor. Now, most of you are going to be like, hey, GTG, remember he said something about the cable? It was only 3 feet and it wasn't long enough. First off, this idiot doesn't understand that his wingspan is longer than 3 feet. Even Phil's wingspan reaches beyond 3 feet. And the cable extends a little bit past that. He's just a lazy fuck, and he won't go ahead and actually try to do any real cable management, despite the fact that he has twist ties. Or at least I've seen twist ties before on the entertainment center. I saw it on a Tevin video. Shouts out to Tevin, or a Tevin stream. And he won't sit there and take maybe an hour. It might not even take that long, but you know, Phil's an idiot, so I'm gonna say an hour to go ahead and do some cable management to get all that squared away. So he put the damn thing on the floor, which leads into Jasper. Apparently, he's setting up Jasper to get electrocuted or some shit. So, as you guys know, if you guys watched in any of Phil's recent videos or streams, or anybody else who's restreaming him, you saw that he had to threaten Jasper the other day to get him up and out the room. I guess the reasoning behind that is because Jasper was playing with one of the cables again, which would only make sense if the cables are all strewed about all over the floor. Well, it's a few weeks prior to that, he ended up actually spraying Jasper while Jasper was next to some of the electrical cables. And he's very lucky that nothing happened to Jasper, especially at that time, I think the Xbox cable was exposed, or there was something wrong with it, or it had a short in it, or whatever the case may be. So this idiot right here is willing to damage his own shit and possibly could fuck his whole setup by shortening everything, by sitting there spraying some water at Jasper when he could just pick him up and get him up and out of there. Or maybe just don't invite him in if you're gonna have stuff, you know, spread out all over the goddamn floor. I don't know. It's basic common sense, but it is what it is. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, just for the extra caveat, because Phil leaves the majority of his consoles on all day, whatever progress he's trying to keep, or whatever the case may be, is going to immediately be gone. That shows you what kind of special individual we're dealing with. Let's see here. And another drama video out on him. We'll see what that is. And like I said, we already talked about the laptop. And just being very nervous for the month of October is hilarious. It's hilarious. Like, you would think with all the support that he had from Planet Jeff over this Jasper situation, everything would be good to go. Then again, he's very lucky that he does have that $100 stream goal, even though he doesn't hit it. Or at least he doesn't hit it every day, I should say. Some things that can be said about his wife, too. He's lucky for that. He doesn't really have too much to grasp at when you look at it from brass tacks. He's kind of in a bad spot. Well, it looks like he's at a bad spot. Despite the fact that this is Mr. I'm doing what I love for a living, I play video games for a living, and I share my experiences with you, and he keeps showing up every day. He keeps showing up to, air quotes, work, but he keeps begging you guys, saying that he needs this money. But he can't be that worse for wear if he keeps showing up to work doing the same shit every day. He doesn't want to spend any money, nor does he want to ask for money to be spent on the streams to make them better. He just wants to sit there, play games, and have fun. He literally wants money just to exist. And that's it. And that should just be a payoff for everybody. And that's kind of ridiculous just thinking about it, but it is the case. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll dive into that more as we get into the broadcast, if I feel that is necessary, which of course I feel is necessary. And hopefully your guys' day is going well, and let's try to make it a little bit better if we can. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking yet, but I'm about to get to that. But before we do so, I like to talk about SnortBucks coffee. I love SnortBucks coffee. And today, I've actually decided to go with a tea. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of Earl Grey. It's a new thing that we're working on. It's actually pretty good. And probably have a black tea after that. Black. So that's what the ebb and flow is. But we're also working on a milk tea. So for any of you guys who have ever had milk tea or have ever had boba, please check it out. It's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Please check it out. It's so good. It's just so good. So that's what we're working on now. Hopefully that gets it's not ready for the market yet. We're not even in the test kitchen phase yet, but it's a thing. So look out for that when that happens. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's time. Excuse me. To watch me work. Oh boy.
Please take this pain away. You're so lovely, lovely, lovely. Why don't you want me, want me, want me? Please take
How to play the game.
this aching pain away.
Hey, come now, love, what's wrong? Gotta paint you a shade of the blue. Is your hue when he paints you the heat? As in me treating you like a stain? Ooh, well I'm the one you should flush down the drain, boo. But I'ma change showing you what your main do. In any game you my pick, I would main you. If love truly intertwines, then we tangled. Hey, not salty today, my blood pressure's great. I tell girls to leave for them on a rake. It's me loving you.
Making sure right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
We're continuing on with my cover.
We are continuing on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the first video of our broadcast, brought to us by one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, DSP. Very, very nervous for next month. Toxicity drives away pay piggies. Hurtful. Hurtful. But this is the reality, ladies and gentlemen. This is the reality. Your content works in has like a two-pronged type situation. One, you have to find the value in it. And two, the emphasis of value that people will put on it. But at the end of the day, you are the driving force. If you don't feel that your content is worth anything, and if you certainly demonstrate that it's not worth anything, then you're only going to get out of it what you put into it, which isn't much. And if, to be honest, that right there has been a telltale sign of 2019 as it pertains to DSP. Like I said earlier, DSP wants to be paid just to exist, but he doesn't put any effort into anything that he does. At all. And he's treating, and as I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, sorry. He's treating this like early YouTube, where like when he used to just sit on his couch, get drunk, and lay back and play video games. It was weak content back then too. But the pond was really, really small. It was a very, very small pool, if you will, of people there, and he's one of the people who stood out, I suppose. But now it's a different world. You know what I'm saying? Things have changed. You know what I'm saying? Gout meets world, if you will. Things done changed now. And because there are more options than ever before, and because there are more personalities out there than ever before, this is where we've kind of become. Phil has become a bit more of a spectacle now than anything. I'll elaborate on that later on down the line, but think about it this way. Phil is slowly but surely becoming an exhibit. He's literally a doorway into YouTube's early days, if you will, into the internet's early days to some extent. That's what he's a relic. He's a dinosaur, as someone else elegantly put it. This is what he is. And he's not doing anything to change it. He believes, because of his unique situation, kind of like back on YouTube with, oh, I'm one of the few people left, or I'm the only person that does it like this, raw, uncut content. That's what makes me unique, and this is the reason why I have a place. In actuality, it's not that he has a place. It's just you have a group of people who have done that better, who are doing that same thing somewhat, but they're doing it better. And Phil hasn't caught on to that. Maybe he doesn't want to catch on to it. Maybe he's scared of technology. Maybe he's scared of learning new things. Maybe he knows that he's incapable of learning anything new without someone else doing it for him. So that's why he reacts the way he does. That's the editor. So that's the thing. And because of that, maybe that's the reason why he's trying to conduct himself the way he is, which only reinforces, at least to me, why he wants people to pay him merely just to exist, not because of the products that he produces or product he produces. And he wonders why his brand's dying out. And if people see you like that or see you in that light, then people are going to take advantage of you. People are going to be like, well, I can profit off that. And that's what people are going to do. I think that's what you're going to see leading into the 2020 year. Here we go.
Of the Genesis Mini. Okay, pretty awesome. Yesterday we sat down and unboxed the thing. Then we hooked it up and had some technical difficulties getting the thing working. But once I figured out that there was a stupid loose wire, we got that all settled. Had a lot of fun. You know, for about 2 hours I was playing various retro games. I played 4 different games yesterday. For those who were not here for the stream and haven't had a chance to get caught up with what I was up to. I played Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Alright. Then we switched over to Castlevania Bloodlines. Then we played some Mega Man The Wily Wars. And then to end the stream, we did some Streets of Rage 2. Played each game for roughly about a half an hour. And it was pretty fun. The console itself operates quite well. The games look great, sound great. So far so good. It's been pretty fun. Really the only complaint that I have about the console is that the quality of the gamepads doesn't seem to be very good.
As I've said many times, you know, people will get what's coming to them. It's called karma.
Keep in mind though too, as Snort Burnell is already going to bring up, and I had talked about it too. Dude, this is a very disgusting individual. Like I said, it's bad enough that the damn console's on the floor. So who knows? Who knows what it's picking up? The room itself is just absolutely fucking toxic, right? But then he's sitting here just smashing on the goddamn buttons, dude. He's smashing on like a goddamn caveman that's seeing technology for the first time. It's these type of reason. This type of behavior, I should say, is the reason why a lot of his stuff doesn't work. A lot of his equipment doesn't hold up to snuff because he doesn't know how to take care of any of it. It's funny how he said that his parents have no real like concept of the modern era, right? And all the stuff in it. He don't either. If you can't take care of anything, he can't take care of anything, especially if it's given to him. He treats that shit with reckless abandon. He just does not give a shit. It's the most childish, immature, and probably impotent thing I've ever really seen, to be honest with you. That's the reason why people can generally have nice stuff, is because they can take care of the stuff that they have until something that they really want comes along. Whereas someone who just buys every little thing that they want, they start to lose interest. They don't value it as much because, oh, well, they'll just go out and buy something new anyway. It's those type of behaviors that Phil kind of fluctuates between really more to the, I don't give a shit, I can just buy another one, or you guys will just buy another one, than anything else. And then, as you've heard him talk about his sticky hand situation, I'm not even talking about the flapping. I'm just talking about it in general. The guy is a human fucking mess. He don't even shower sometimes. So he's just going to roll himself out of bed, scratch whatever part of himself he needs to scratch. You'd be lucky if he brushes his teeth, and then he heads on to the stream. So I wouldn't want to touch anything in that house at all. But then again, isn't that a bit of a knock against Catherine? Because isn't she the one that's supposed to be maintaining the house and takes pride in it? His office is part of that house. And we all know Phil doesn't clean. He may lie to Catherine and says he does. Maybe that's why his room door is closed all the time. But it's obvious that they don't, or he doesn't. And since he never leaves the house, I doubt Catherine would ever go into that room without him knowing. Just something to think about.
Buttons on a gamepad that I only used for 45 minutes already was sticking.
Now I think about it too. Maybe that's another reason why she doesn't want to show up on stream. Maybe she just doesn't like the mess that goes on in that room. Because if you remember the last time she was in there was for the, actually this time last year, or we're coming up on it, that whole Halloween stream where it was Tevin's fault. But before that is when she ended up breaking that, she ended up bursting that stress ball. And remember she said she'd clean it up, and he's like, oh, no, I'll grab it, or whatever, one of us will do it. Who knows what she ended up actually dealing with when she decided to clean that little mess up. And she was like, whoa. And like I said, that place is a pigsty. He can lie all he wants and say that, oh, people's just a negative meme, and it was just that one time, whatever. No, you said it yourself that guys don't clean. Which I don't know who exactly you're talking about, but whatever. It is what it is. You know? It's another one of Phil's interests that he doesn't talk to people about, I guess. It's just one of those really awkward incidents. 1 minute, oh, if I see some dirt, he shits on Panda and says, oh, sometimes she'll just make a mess and she'll just leave that shit there. I can't do that. Then the next minute, oh, I got all this dust down there, but whatever. Guys don't clean that shit up anyway. I'm just going to leave it there because that's manly. What the really just stuck in his time period. Just absolutely stuck in his time period. Fucking A. And you guys should be glad that his mother and father came out there and fixed his house or took care of his house for him when they did. Because Phil couldn't have done that. I really don't think he had it in him. At all. At all. So that house would have burned down a long time ago if it wasn't for his parents.
It's not good. That was actually a common problem with the original Genesis Model 1 gamepads, is that the buttons, for some people, would stick. And then what they eventually did is they redesigned those Model 1 gamepads with a different style of internal button mechanism so that they wouldn't stick and break. Then later on with the later model Genesis, they didn't even give you the original 3-button controller anymore. They went on and started doing 6-button controllers because they wanted to compete with the SNES, which had 6 buttons. So, outside of a little bit of a hardware snafu, which it's a good thing they gave you 2 controllers, because I'm now using the second controller, which seems to be a hell of a lot better.
Keep in mind, though, the Genesis controllers are actually pretty easy to clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty easy to maintain and whatnot. So
everything's been going good so far with the Genesis Mini. So well, in fact, that after yesterday's stream, you guys expressed to me that you wanted me to go ahead and play it again today.
Stream chat is very slow and no one's talking to me, so I don't know.
Yeah, that inclusive type behavior he's trying to do, it feels forced, because it is, and it screams desperation. And it screams desperation, not that from a financial aspect, but from an emotional one. Like, he honestly needs people to gloat on him, not gout, gloat on him, every point of the day. Which is funny because he says that the detractors are all brain dead idiots and they're all obsessed and this, that, and the third. Yet he's the one that's on Kiwi Farms. Yet he's the one who's checking out people's streams or people's videos. Basically both. So it looks to me like he wants the praise to be given to him, but he seeks out the negativity. Well, how healthy is that under reasonable circumstances? He spends more of his day, if I had to guess, he spends more of his day pissed off at Tevin and other detractors than any amount of positivity that's given to him. Phil needs the negativity because he started off with negativity. From the very first YouTube video he put out, at least gaming one, and most of his vlogs too, to be honest, I was bitching and complaining about some little shit. I need to go over those. But it's always been negative. It's always been criticizing for some way, shape, or form. And maybe because that's how he got bitched at work. So he comes home, turns on his camera, and does the same shit. Which is funny, though, because didn't he say that, oh, the detractors, they probably have shitty lives, they got shitty jobs, and they have this, that, and the third, or they couldn't get the careers they wanted, or whatever the case may be. And that's the reason why they make videos on him? To get out their frustration? I know what it's like, man. I used to be a troll, too. My life was in a terrible place also. And that's why I did what I did, but I grew out of that. But yet he still harps about detractors and other people who are successful. Just something to think about.
What's going on? Gel Sculpture said, you said chat doesn't talk to you. Why don't you try engaging chat? Talk to us, ask us questions, entertain us. You're the streamer. That's not how it works. Why would I want to ask you questions? I'm the person who's playing a game. Do you have questions about the game? Do you have questions about my schedule? Do you have questions about things I'll be doing? Why would...
That was amazing. Okay, I'm kind of mad at myself. I didn't catch that the first couple times. But it's amazing that he was like, well, maybe you should ask us questions, Phil. You know what I'm saying? And be more engaging with us. That's not how it works. Why would I do that? He basically said, why? Well, he implied, why would I lower myself to you guys, to your level, when you guys came here to see me? He's kind of like that guy that was at TwitchCon last year. You remember that one, right? That's the guy who sat there and said that, oh, he has like this god to like superiority complex. And so he doesn't want to try to relate with his viewers because he feels like he's above them. That's this shit right here. That's exactly what this is. This is the Pignosis version, but this is exactly what that is. So it wasn't just extended to that one idiot. This guy has it too. Phil has that too. Phil had it before that guy, obviously. But that's what this is. These are the very people who give you money day in and day out. And you can't even be bothered to ask them some questions about themselves. Or some questions as a whole to the stream. And engage in a conversation on that. Look at him. He's looking right now like, you guys want me to do more work than I'm already doing? I'm already working to the maximum of my capacity. You guys want me to do more? And you guys have heard Phil say that before. The true face of stupidity. An ungrateful, ingrate, narcissist piece of shit. Absolute sociopath. That's what this idiot is. That's what he's doing. Look at his face. And the thing is, if you guys are able to actually look at the screen, that's a genuine look. That is a genuine look of disgust right there. I should turn that into a thumbnail. But that's exactly what that is. That's fucking amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
The person asks you questions. How does that even make any sense?
And then on Sunday, so that's going to be Sunday the 29th of September, it's going to be my special retrospective marathon event.
Oh my god. Like, I'm just so tired of this stupid shit.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that failure. First off, ladies and gentlemen, the last couple of retrospective events, it was a failure. I assume this one will be no different. Why does it fail? Someone asked me this on Twitter. Phil's retrospective events fail for a couple of different reasons. One, he doesn't do anything that's interesting. At all. A lot of the recommendations that are given to him, he doesn't even do it right then. He doesn't even do it on those retrospective events. He'll save that for the next one. A lot of the stuff that people want to see, he don't want to watch. A lot of it, being that it is a retrospective, right, and these people are part of his retrospective, he needs to be more inclusive in the videos that have Panda in it, but he can't because it hurts him too much. It hurts him that woman walked out on his ass. What he thought was that little girl actually was a woman and she walked out on him. That's really what it comes down to. He can't bear to deal with that shit unless he gets tricked into the shit, which is always hilarious. Because he gets caught in that at least once every stream or every one of those retrospectives. So he can't bear to do it. Like, he really can't. But yet he'll put John and Howard up there all the time, which is funny because didn't John and Howard like betray him and like really hurt him? You know, kind of like how Tevin hurt him. But we don't mind putting them up there and exploiting them and exploiting his past when it comes to those guys. But we don't want to do that with Panda. Which is strange too because, I mean, John and Howard made Phil a whole lot of money. More money than he ever paid out to them. And they were supposed to be his closest friends. They cut him deep. But yet he doesn't mind reminiscing about that. And to be honest with you, more often than not, it brightens up his day a little bit, reliving a lot of those moments. And despite the fact that Panda walked out on his bitch ass, you would think there were still some happy moments with her that he would like to convey to show that he's grown as an adult. He's married now, so all that's in the past anyway. So who cares if you decide to go over a couple of videos with Panda in it? Right? She's moved on. You've moved on. What's the big difference? Even though I have to admit, there are some funny correlations between Panda leaving and starting her new life and then with Phil. First off, around the time that Phil ended up marrying Catherine was very, very close to the time that he asked Panda to actually be, he got engaged with Panda. Another thing is that right after Catherine had left, right after Panda had left, or Leanna, whoever it was that she was staying with had cats, and we saw some pictures of that. Then all of a sudden, Phil has a cat himself. It's funny how when Leanna decided to go out with her boyfriend to a new noodle shop, right, a new ramen shop or whatever, it was either the day that we ended up getting our hands on that or the next day, the detractors as a whole, got their hands on that, Phil didn't want to show up to stream that day. It's really, really weird, and it's very, very peculiar on how he acts when brand new Panda news comes out. It's very, very strange. It's almost like he didn't actually let that go. It's almost like he's actually pretty bitter about the situation, or he misses her. He realized that, you know what, I thought I wanted her to be a little bit more mature than what she was, and in actuality, now that I have what you would consider a more mature individual, if you will, more of a shut-in like himself. If she's a shut-in, we don't know too much about. We don't know enough about her personality to say otherwise. She might not be a complete and total shut-in like Phil is, but they call her the potato lady for a reason. It's very obvious that it wasn't what he wanted. Like, he needs a livelier person around him. And I think Catherine could be that, maybe, after she works out some of the shit that's going on her end of it. Maybe she could be that. Or she could be similar to it. But Panda was the real life in that house. To be honest. No matter how annoying you thought that she was, or irritating, or whatever the case may be, she was the one who was really trying to go out there and live life for what it was, because that's just kind of, I guess, you could say that's just kind of how she is. Phil was the home buddy who wanted to stay at home, get fat, get gout, right? And just live and just sit at home and enjoy life that way. Be catered to. So maybe as time's gone on, maybe he's realized he fucked up. He fucked up bad. And now with this whole exercise bike thing, there's a theory, a very good theory, I think. I saw it on Kiwi Farms, where Catherine was actually purchased the bike, or wanted the bike to be purchased, not necessarily for her, but for Phil. Because it's like an elliptical or something along those lines. So maybe because Kiwi Farms and Twitter found it. They found exactly what the bike looks like and everything. They even found the shipping date and everything too. Goddamn, dude! Like, they were on their shit. Like, they got shit done. But we'll talk about that further. It's very, like I said, it's obvious that the bike was for him, or so it seems. So the theory is that Phil purposely botched putting the damn thing together on that premise. But like I said, we'll address that at a later time because I haven't fleshed it all out yet. I haven't read all of it yet, but it was a good look. It was definitely a really good post. He's constantly stagnating himself and the people around him. You know what I'm saying? It's the best thing that Leanna ever did was get out of that house. The best thing she could have ever done. And I think, and this is just a personal theory, I think when you see what happened with John and Howard and how he called them out and then he supposedly said he was betrayed and then he went on that spiel, Panda may have thought that she was never going to be, that would never happen to her. That he loves her too much to do so. I've said this before. And she found out the hard way when she got exposed in that emergency video. Phil loves nobody except for himself. And even then, he doesn't even really love himself because he won't do anything to make himself better. He won't do anything to put himself in a better position. But that's just a little bit of rambling on my part. My bad.
So I'm excited for that. We have not done a retrospective stream in quite some time. And since it is the end of the month, it's the very end of the month there, it'll be an opportunity for me to attempt to raise some funds to help me out in early October, because as you guys know, financially things have been pretty awful for me. And hopefully I'll be able to raise some extra tips and funds that day to help out so that I don't end up in a horrible overdraft situation like I was this month for a good week and a half. Okay?
No! That's your fault! That's your fault! You created that business model. You created a flawed business model, and now you're saying there's nothing you could do about it? No, it's your business.
But it's not even that. He ended up getting an additional $2,100 in what, August? Off that Jasper situation? So how is it that this month, which is September, how did he sit there and end up getting in an overdraft type situation when that's $2,100 that he wasn't expecting? You see what I'm saying? Like, you see how he keeps digging the money pit deeper and deeper and deeper? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense what he's trying to do. What he's trying to do is basically set the boundaries to, this is the money that I'm expecting to make. Anything over that automatically gets pushed over here, and we don't talk about it. I still want the money that I'm expecting to make, despite the fact that that's an amount that you guys will never know. Just keep mindlessly throwing money at me, and eventually I'll tell you if it's enough. Oh, it's the following month, so we're right back at it all over again. And it's just an endless cycle. But what are you gonna do?
Yes. That's your own fault. It's a lack of self-control. You created the monster, you unleashed the monster, and now your complaint is, well, the monster's too powerful to control. Well, fuck you. That's your fault. Yeah, everything's always my fault. You're right.
And this is just me being very honest with all of you. Alright? And I'm gonna be very honest with all of you. You know, I'm kind of messed up in my head right now because of stuff going on behind the scenes financially. It's tearing me apart, man. It's to the point where, like, I'm at my wit's end, and I want you to understand, I hope it doesn't come through on the streams, that I hope that when I'm playing games and interacting with you guys and having fun, that it doesn't seep through, that there's really stressful stuff going on with me behind the scenes, financially. Because I am struggling right now really bad. I mean, just take a look this past month, right? Like, I couldn't afford half the games. I couldn't get the Genesis Mini myself. This sucks, you know? And I'm doing my best to not let that come through on the streams. Really, I am. I hope that it doesn't, and I hope that it's not negatively affecting anything. And I just want to let you guys know, you know, when you support me via, you know, this crowdfunding on streams, it helps a ton. And the best way you can help me is by tipping me. Right now, I'm very, very nervous about the coming month. That I'm going to end up in exactly the same situation I was this month, but worse. Where, essentially, I'm going to get, you know, not have enough money to pay for stuff. This sucks. And I'm going to say, you know, it's really bad. It's to the point where I'm kind of, like, at last resort at this point. You know, the reason I'm telling you this is, I'm number one, right before stream today, you know, a couple things happened, and I'm like, oh, man, like, I hope this doesn't, like, negatively affect the stream today. I'm really going to do my best to not let it, okay? I know you guys don't come here to hear me worried about this kind of shit. Alright, so let's just have a fun stream with the Genesis Mini today, alright? But if you want to help me more than anything, alright, the best way to contribute right now is by tipping me, because tipping me allows me to put funds straight towards bills, which are coming up very shortly in the next, there's a couple the next week, and then there's a bunch coming up early October.
And so people actually...
Okay, I'm gonna call bullshit on this all the way with that, okay? So watch me work, okay? Watch me work on this. I want to take you guys back to either August or September of 2017, which is right around the time when Phil told us that he had this massive thing, or no, maybe it was in June. It might have been July, actually. June or July. All right, let's do this. I want to take you guys back to somewhere between, I'm probably correct when I said September, but let's say between June and September of 2017, when Phil found out about the back taxes situation, the business and state occupation tax that he owed. We didn't know about that. We didn't know that's what it was at the time. We were only guessing it was taxes. Phil told us that it wasn't, which is a tie into that whole situation with Jasper. But whatever, watch me work. I want to take you guys back to this time period when he revealed what the big problem was, which he had basically hyped that up, if you will, into some coming weeks. And this right here was just kind of like the boiling point for it before he actually revealed what it was. He sat there and says something very similar to this. He's like, I've been, bothered with this thing for about a month or so, and I've been hoping it doesn't really affect the streams, but this shit has been eating away at me since I heard about it, and I don't want to tell you guys because you guys aren't here for that, and, you guys have already been very supportive to me, but this... It really hurts me, this, that, and the third, and I don't have anybody else to lean on. I don't have any support system, really, despite the fact that he had hundreds of people on stream. Tevin's pointed that out plenty of times. Praise be. But, I'm just having a really bad time right now, and I don't want to speak on it just yet because I don't have all the details, but when I do, I'll let you guys know. But just know, guys, that I really need your support right now. Now, at that time, he asked for emotional support. He didn't ask for financial support, which was the smartest thing that he could have done. It was the smartest thing that he could have done, was being like, I don't want let me try to word this as closely to what he said as possible. I'm not looking for financial support. Any financial support that is given is helpful, or it's definitely very much appreciated, but I just need emotional support. I really just need people to be nice to me. Just please be nice to me because I'm stressed out. Okay, this is leading up into the tax situation. That same tax situation, ladies and gentlemen, which he ended up revealing later on down the line, but people had said from the jump it was probably taxes. It was probably the IRS, and he kept brushing it off. No, it wasn't. Just like that same situation with Jasper, when he said about that big surprise that he wanted to reveal to us, and people immediately said it was a pet. People even said immediately that it was a cat. I remember saying that, but I was really hoping it was going to be him telling us that Catherine was pregnant, but he's probably going to hold that off just for good reason, maybe. But I said more than likely it was going to be a pet of some type. And people said it was a cat. And Phil said, oh, it's not a cat. Or it's not a new cat. And then he's spinning that stupid-ass story. Very strange. Because it's funny, ladies and gentlemen, that he's had Jasper. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent. It's funny how he's had Jasper for like at least a year. At least a year. And he hasn't been scratched or anything up until recently. Up until recently, Jasper jumped up in the bed to wake him up and scratched him pretty deep. Or Jasper or all those times he said he was sitting down in the living room with Catherine and himself and Jasper, and Jasper would walk over them and do this and that and third, would kind of play with them, and Jasper's back claws never clawed at him then, but it did it now. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's something real peculiar about that whole Jasper situation. The more we learn about it. And just the way he's reacting to Jasper with the whole spray bottle situation, which isn't something uncommon with people who have cats, but that's something different too. That's something very, very strange behavior. And it's something you could tell he's not, it's something uncommon for him to do, because he would be smart enough not to do that around electronics. Just that right there off the top, off the bare minimum, off the rip, should be something that he knows about, or he should know about if he's had a cat for a long period of time. Just some things to think about. Now, this right here is nothing more than him trying to lay down the groundwork for what's going to bleed into the holiday season. Because why is he only worried about the month of October? Why isn't he more concerned about what's he going to do for the rest of the year? You ever thought about that? Or is it that Phil still thinks, oh, I'm going to go ahead and lay out the bait now, like he did in 2017, and then when we start bleeding into the holiday season, people's generosity will really come out, and they're really going to support me. I just got to put out some bait right now to set up the scenario, but people will support me later on, especially around the holidays when people tend to be at their most generous. just like he did with the back tax situation back in 2017. This is all it is. It's a little bit late. It's a lot lazier. We didn't get a dedicated video to it, at least not yet. But I would also assume that one's coming eventually. If he's smart, he's going to do one before the holiday season. If he's smart, he's going to do one before the holiday season. Because you can't tell me that he's strapped for cash every time, you know, every month. He can't just be strapped for cash for someone who makes $10,000 plus at times dollars a month, each month, almost. Because when you factor Patreon and some other things, it comes up at about 10 grand. So how is it that he's continuously strapped for cash over and over and over again? He's setting up for something big. At least that's what I'm thinking. And especially the way the holiday season happened in 2018, how that was a complete and utter failure. He needs this year to be good. Let me explain why, or allow me to reintroduce you to that situation. Outside of Phil waiting for his parents to kick the bucket, which, to be honest, they're more useful to him alive than dead anyway. Hopefully he's realized that. He's trying to get his home refinanced, but to do that he has to show a steady increase in his income over the next couple years, which is why marrying Catherine was a good move, because now you combine their income, for example. But that's just one little bit. That's why he needs to hit this certain mark each month, though. And now, what the mark is, I couldn't tell you. If I had to guess, he would probably try to shoot for 15, 20,000, if he could, at least 15,000 a month, because that would show the bank that, okay, this is kind of sturdy, especially if he can keep it up for 2 years. He's trying to make sure he has himself in a good spot so he can get his home refinanced, because something's telling me he's not gonna sell that condo until he can pay it off, and then he'll try to sell it. And I think that's what he's gonna do. I think he's gonna refinance his home if he gets approved, because he's already tried twice. He's gonna try to get his home refinanced. He's gonna go ahead and pay off all of his credit card bills, all of his debt here, and then he's gonna use the rest of the money to pay off that condo, and then cash out on that condo. I think that's what his plan's going to be. I think that's the most steady plan that he could probably come up with. There's better plans than that, but I think that's what, in his piggy brain, I think that's what he's going for. And that's why the desperation you've seen all of 2019, as well as a little bit in 2018 when he was talking about wanting to refinance his home. That's why things are the way they are. He's shooting for 2020, probably 2021 to get refinanced, if I had to guess. So just I want to keep that in mind too, because that's something that some people, they forget, and that's fine. Everybody forgets everything. I do. There's so much shit to keep up with, but I don't want you guys to forget that he is still, the plan to refinance his home is still in the works, and he's still slowly but surely trying to work towards it. Hence the reason why a certain amount needs to be acquired each month. And all you're seeing here with this is just the stepping stones, the early groundwork to lead up to that. He needs this holiday season to pop off right, and he needs 2020 to be amazing.
People are just very gullible on the internet. I don't know what else to say. Not everything that's said on the internet is truth. The bottom line is the more ludicrous something sounds, chances are it is ludicrous. You can't just believe everything you're told.
Most people would believe that too until you're introduced to Dark Side Phil, because the shit that he says and does makes no sense whatsoever, but it happened. So to some degree I agree with him on that, except when it pertains to him.
On the internet.
And then I just received a tip of $7. And Tim says the following. He says, maybe it has been seeping through. The past few streams, we can tell you're upset about something. You're more negative about games than usual. I had to leave last night's Call of Duty stream because the negativity got overwhelming and I was turned off from contributing.
Basically, the stream was very toxic.
I mean, I'm sure it's a contributing factor. I'm going to be very honest with you, though. With that beta, like, it was very disappointing. Because when you get told by a game developer, oh, we're changing, we've listened to your feedback, and we've decided that we're going to kind of go back to square one, and we're going to go back to 10 years ago, when Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, right, was the biggest thing, and we want to make a game just like Call of Duty 4. and everything's gonna be like old school.
They never said that though, and you already have. They never said that, and you already have Modern Warfare Remastered. So what are you talking about exactly? Like they never said they wanted to make it exactly like Call of Duty 4 or like the original Modern Warfare, because there's already a remastered out. This is supposed to be a retelling of it. Okay.
So for those of you who really liked the series back then, it is a treat for you. We've listened to your feedback. We're taking out all the gimmicks and everything. And then you play the game and you realize all they really did is they gave it a facelift. There was one time where there was an enemy in front of me, but I couldn't see them because there was a big smoke thing in front of me, like a bunch of black smoke. So I got killed by getting shot through the smoke, and I'm thinking, how did that guy see me through the smoke? So I played the kill cam. The smoke didn't render for him. He never saw it. Only on my screen was there smoke. On his screen, he never got it, so he gets a cheap kill. So I look at stuff like that, and that drives me nuts. I mean, we're very honest here. Yes, I understand. You're saying basically it seems like I was being overly negative. That shit drives me absolutely bonkers.
Basically, here's a whiny baby, a demanding baby.
Because when you say...
But that can be said for any game that he does poorly at. And that he can't really see. His aim is horrible. If you've ever watched an LSB stream, shouts out to LSB, you can see that shit. His aim is terrible. Absolutely horrible. And he doesn't account for recoil as well as other things. So there's just a bunch of things that are working against him, but most of that's on his end. Like I've seen enemies like in Black Ops 4. I've seen enemies, he'll jump down from a building. This is one of the best examples I can give you. He jumps down from the top of a building, turns around and sees somebody. The guy's right there looking off to the side, looking off to what probably was his right. And Phil's looking right at him, and Phil just stared at him for like at least a good 3-4 seconds until it registered, oh shit, this is an enemy. The opponent realizes that Phil's there and shoots him dead. And Phil's like, I put shots on him, I saw him first, but you didn't do anything. Your reactions weren't there. Your brain couldn't register what you were seeing, I guess. And then your reflexes weren't fast enough. Yes, did he fire some shots off? Indeed. Did 1 or 2 out of that Frawley probably land? Sure. It wasn't enough to kill. So, yet again, that's Phil's own downfall on when it pertains to that. Yes. DSP News.
We're going to try to get your faith back in our series, that we care, we've listened to customer feedback, we want to go back to the old school days, but then you give me shit like that, that just tells me they don't. It means that we're blowing smoke up your ass, Yes, we'll take out the wall running, the double jumping, and the gimmicks that people complain about. Oh, by the way, same shitty netcode and same shitty experience you've had for the past 5 years, and we've done nothing to improve it. That's really what my main criticism of the game is. That and the fact that, at least last night, shotguns seemed really overpowered. Now, maybe I'm just a noob, which I very much could be, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not good at the game, and maybe shotguns aren't really that good at all, and I'm just an idiot. But they seemed pretty ridiculously powerful that, from, like, not even close range, but, like, mid-range, people would instantly kill me with a shotgun no matter what. And I was like, damn.
But keep in mind, though, too, people were running and gunning, which is what you're supposed to do with a fucking shotgun. So most of the dudes that end up killing him was literally running up on him. Going back to reactions and reflexes again, ladies and gentlemen. Because I saw a little bit of LSB stream. The same guy killed him over and over again. It was the same shotgunner, I should say. That dude literally was in Phil's grill. Like, this guy was doing it smart too. He was either catching Phil off of his flanks, or he was catching Phil after Phil had already shot somebody and was starting to reload. And he just kept picking Phil off. So Phil makes it sound like the guy was 4 character links away when he shot him, when in actuality, because the guy was running at him, right, the guy was probably 2.5 to 3 character links away from him, and because of whatever, I can't remember what the shotgun the guy was using, he bucked his ass off. I think he hit him with a double barrel. So you were going to take all that. you were gonna take all of that. Just like how Tyrone gives it to Panda. She won't take all that. You're going to take it all too. And that's just what happened. And didn't Phil end up picking up shotguns later on in that stream? So, I mean, it's not like it was cut off for you, Phil, and only this guy could access it. Everybody could. And it's not like Phil has an actual play style. He doesn't. Like, from what I've seen, and I need to do a video on it. I was thinking about actually streaming it, but we'll see. I definitely want to do a video on it, though, where I want to go through the comparisons of when Wings of Redemption was playing the beta and when DSP was. It looks like DSP is trying to do a poor man's version of Wings. Kinda. It's not very good. He doesn't corner check at all. He uses his flashbangs and his grenades improperly. He barely knows how to use his fucking weapon. It's a mess. It's a mess watching Phil play that shit. To be honest with you, he needs to stop talking shit about Black Ops because he's gonna have to go back to it. Eventually, he's gonna have to go to Blackout because right now with the new Modern Warfare, this is just my opinion, of course. The people who are really being drawn to it right now are the few people that can still be drawn in through nostalgia. The people who are entrenched in like Battlefield, especially like Battlefield 4, and those who are trying to jump back and forth between Rainbow Six Siege. Those are the people that you're going to see play the new Call of Duty, I think, because it's a nice change of pace. That's what the new grounds are going to be. And those communities take that shit very, very fucking seriously. You can tell that when you see Wings play Rainbow. DSP can't compete. That's why he won't play Rainbow Six and Siege in the first place, because he knows he can't compete. There's too much in it. Like there's too many little things that you have to do that he's just like, no, I just want to go in and play. No, you just want to go in and die. That's what you want to do. You just want to go in and die, because Twitch shooters are not Phil's thing. They never really were. So he needs a much slower, campier style. That's the reason why he doesn't like Fortnite. You know what I mean? But that is why he's okay with PUBG. And you guys remember how he dropped PUBG like the useless hoe that was as soon as Blackout came out, but now he wants to go back to PUBG. Now he wants to run back to that. Even though the new Modern Warfare is supposed to have, or they're thinking about implementing a new Battle Royale mode in that. But the maps, the way the maps are set up and stuff like that, I don't think Phil's going to play too much of that either, because there's not a whole lot of time for someone like him anyway to sit around and just wait for people to stumble past him. Not in a mode like that. So we'll see. That's just my opinion, though, of the situation, at least from what I've observed. Sorry.
Like, that's pretty nuts, right? So, that's my criticisms of the Modern Warfare beta. So first of all, Tim, thank you for the tip. You got the tip started today. I appreciate your honest feedback. I hope that at least clarifies some of the reactions that I had. It's disheartening for someone like me who's played the series for 10 years to be told one thing and then given another in the beta. I mean, it is just the beta, so fair enough, they have a month to try to get it better, and that's a good thing, I guess, but I hope that they do. Do you want to play the fucking game? Not that they released the game exactly as it was in the beta, with all these very frustrating online issues, and then act like the game's great, but it's not, okay?
Call of Duty Online has always been kind of shoddy, though. That's always, I mean, as long as it stays peer-to-peer, it's always going to be that way, because Activision doesn't want to give us servers. So you're just going to have to deal with that. And for someone who's played it for 10 years, you should already know that bullshit. So I don't even know why that's even a point of conversation. People who still complain about the netcode, you just have to realize that's never going to... Activision's not going to invest in servers. They're just not going to do that. At least not for Call of Duty anyway. So you just had to... That's just the reality of it. It's never going to get better. That's why people in the Call of Duty community, especially Call of Duty commentators, that's the reason why they invest in different types of equipment to strengthen their internet signals, or they invest in like the best internet they can. Fiber optics is starting to become like the standard amongst Call of Duty commentators. Like I said, most anyway, not everybody, but that's what the situation kind of. It's really all on the player, not really the company. But like I said, if you've been playing Call of Duty long enough, you should know that.
But that being said, you know, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, I agree with you that probably some of the negativity behind the scenes comes out, especially a session like that, where it's very frustrating for me, because, you know, it's a competitive game, and it's hard to learn on the fly when I'm only playing it a couple times a week, and it makes me rage. So, thank you for the honest feedback, and thank you for the tip, getting the tip started today, Tim. I appreciate it.
Wait, so it's hard for you to learn because you only play the game a couple of times a week, but that's your fault, though. That's not the game's fault at all. That's your fault. And that's the reason why this whole interactive streamer and this variety streaming bullshit apparently isn't doing so well. When this idiot can't remember things from game to game to game. And I'm not saying he should remember everything. Don't get me wrong. But what it does mean is he plays too many goddamn games. Stick to just a handful of games and just keep it at that. Especially if it's a new game that people really want to see. But Phil isn't going to want to do that, because once he gets pub stomped a couple of times, he's going to want to move on to something else. And then he's going to get mad because, why is everybody so much better? Why is everybody abusing this? Why is everybody abusing that? Because the game evolved while you were gone. Tevin had brought this up a long time ago when it came to Street Fighter V, and a couple other fighting games too. I think he said the same thing for Dragon Ball FighterZ at one time. Just because you stop playing the game doesn't mean that other people do. In his world, I guess that's what he thinks, but in the reality of it all is it's far from that. The game is constantly evolving, and that's why having crossplay is a great thing, but it's going to be it's definitely not going to work out for Phil. It's going to definitely not work out for Phil, because Xbox is going to be on their shit, and PC is going to have all the real advantages, unless you have people who are going to have like modified mouse and keyboards for the consoles, which you can do. You can get it on Amazon for like $30. The people are going to have problems. People are going to have problems. Phil's especially going to have problems. So I'm not saying that PC is going to end up dominating all of this shit, but it's going to the player pool is going to be really, really big for Xbox and for PC players. And I think there's supposed to be a little icon next to each individual person to solidify what console they're actually playing on, or what platform they're playing on, I should say. If that's the case, watch how Sony guys are going to have a hard time. Xbox too, to an extent, but definitely Sony. Sony's going to have a very, very hard time for a little while until they figure stuff out. So Phil's definitely not ready for what's coming next. Like, crossplay is going to bring competition to a level where it should have been back in Black Ops 2, to be honest. Back in those days. Like, they're doing it now because they want to try to make it as inclusive as possible, and they want to show that Call of Duty still has some life left in it. Despite the fact that light looks like it's dwindled. It looked like it dwindled, it's been dwindling, I should say, for a very long time.
Views, views, views. I don't want to be Mr. Views, just call me Mr. Tips. As you know, I am an avid actress who is always trying to make money. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit.
Indeed it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into the second and last video of our broadcast. I'll see you guys, literally, in just a second.
Gone.
This is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
I understand Borderlands 3 may not be your cup of tea. I get that.
Borderlands 3 is not very good because you're not very good with it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last video of our broadcast brought to us by one of our favorites, Snort Burnell. DSP, no more complaints about B3. Another drama video about him on YouTube, and I need a new laptop. Oh boy. Here we go.
The game that is a certain kind of looter shooter game. There's not a ton of riveting stuff in the game and the gameplay to keep a viewing audience hooked. That's why I do interactive streams. That's why if you guys want to talk and have fun conversation, I'm open to it. That's why I ask when I play games like this that you guys tag me in the stream chat with topics you'd like to discuss. All right?
When in actuality, he could have just had a couple of co-op sessions to drum up more interest. He could have done that. And with a co-op, he's going to have 2 people, maybe 3, who are going to carry the weight for him. And then it could still have been a very successful, air quotes, interactive stream. But see, Phil don't think that way. Because he's stupid, you see.
The point of me doing the streams like this. Now, back in the day, when I used to do offline gameplay videos for YouTube, I wholeheartedly 100% agree. A playthrough like this would have been, like, super boring, and people had right to complain that it wasn't very entertaining and that I should be doing something else. In the modern era, this just doesn't hold water anymore. Alright? The whole point of the interactive stream, alright, is that I am interacting with you to fill up dead time and or boring parts of game playthroughs, because not every game is going to be riveting every possible moment.
But the game itself is just boring watching you play it. People have said they'd rather see paint dry. So he wants to, so yet again, he's sitting there blaming the game for being boring at certain parts. And during those parts, you should be interacting with him to basically to pass by the time. Basically, give me money to speak to you for the next minute or so, or two, while we get past this boring part. But that doesn't make any logical sense when the whole game is boring. And not because the game itself is boring, it's because of how you play it. If he can, think about it this way. If he can have an interactive stream during dead parts of Borderlands 3, then why can't he do co-op? Then why can't he do co-op and it still be a very successful interactive stream? And the people who are in his party, if you will, the chat could literally go ahead and send cheers or donations or whatever the case may be to ask them questions. Phil relays the question to them, and then so on and so forth. Yet again, that would be making it a very inclusive interactive stream. But see, yet again, Phil wants all the attention on him. He's scared of a Brian coming in and taking all the attention away. He's scared of a Kekken coming in and taking at least some of the attention away, despite the fact that he auto-hosts most of those guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is really stupid. This is really, really dumb. And he really thinks that it's a valid... what's the word I'm looking for? He really thinks this is a valid solution to boring games. Just talk to me then. If you don't like the game, just talk to me. Why? There's so much shit that he doesn't want to talk about, or he just doesn't know about, or he's not interested in, and that list grows bigger and bigger by the day. What do you want to do? Hear his life fucking story for the 1,400th time? He tells you the life story damn near every day. At least every day he streams. His 10-year or his 11-year legacy. How he got fired. How he just fell into YouTube. You know what I mean? You've heard all of this. It's guaranteed you've heard that at least 3 days out of the week. If not almost every day in some way, shape, or form. You see what I'm saying? He's starting to get stagnant. And it's starting to affect him in a big way. And now he's starting to realize it. So now he has to keep shitting on the chat, talking about, why won't you guys interact with me? Why isn't the chat talking to me? Because there's nothing that you have to talk about. That's why they wanted you to ask them questions. Because apparently asking you questions isn't working. I don't want to talk about that. I don't know nothing about that. I don't want that to derail the stream. Then ask them questions then. Why would I do that? You come here to watch me stream and to interact with me. Why do I have to interact with you? Go figure. Dspnews.
It's very slow and no one's talking to me, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it crashed or people are just not being interactive yet again when I play this game. I can't make people talk to me. Gel Sculpture said, you said chat doesn't talk to you. Why don't you try engaging chat? Talk to us, ask us questions, entertain us. You're the streamer. That's not how it works. Why would I want to ask you questions? I'm the person who's playing a game. Do you have questions about the game? Do you have questions about my schedule? Do you have questions about things I'll be doing? Why would
Let him finish.
The person ask you questions? How does that even make any sense? That's like... that's what anyone...
This is why he can't grow a community. At all. He comes up with so many different roadblocks on why he doesn't want to have to interact with you guys unless there's money tied to it, or you're someone who's given large amounts of money, or who will potentially give large amounts of money, that he just doesn't see the need for it. And that's the thing, at the end of the day. It's funny how this is supposed to be interactive streaming, but he hates people. Like, Phil legitimately hates people. Which is weird, because this is how he makes his living. But it's almost like he compartmentalizes like the begging aspect. Like, you want these people supposedly like you and like your content, and so they should be there to support you. And all you really want is their money, and you don't want really anything else. Or you only want them to come in and entertain your streams when you don't feel like doing it. But you definitely want a bunch of money when that happens as well. He literally wants to do the bare fucking minimum. And if he can get away with a couple of these evening streams without interacting with people, then so be it. Because during the day, he needs to play the nice guy bullshit. He needs to kind of be interacting or whatever, because that's more than likely when certain administrators on Twitch are going to be watching. And he kind of needs to have that nice guy shit. At night, though, after a couple of gin and sprites, he turns his brain off. I just want money. Give me money. That's the only reason why you're really here. That's the only reason why I need you guys to be here, is to give me money. And to carry the stream for the next 2 hours. Jesus Christ.
Else does a live stream, and tons of people have things to ask them and talk to them. I have to make up questions to ask my audience. Okay, I'm sure that's how it works, Jalscal. Whatever you say.
In the old days, when I wasn't live streaming, what I used to do is try to do commentary and ridiculous over-the-top jokes to fill those moments. And it worked until people's mentalities completely changed and the culture of the world changed and said, oh, you can't do that anymore. It's not funny anymore to do that kind of stuff. You gotta change.
It wasn't really funny back then. People had called him out back then for that shit. Mainly people that were in the audience. People that was, quote-unquote, in his fan base called him out for that shit. But he just banned them, or he would ignore them. Or he would have what I like to call the hyena type mentality, where if one of them gets out of line, the other ones bully him into position, or him or her into position. Which there's plenty of examples of almost gang mentality inflicted on itself. If you look back further enough in Phil's little community over there, it's nothing new. There's nothing new at all. So why are we acting like we're brand new to this situation? And what the implications are going to be, that are going to come from it later. This is why people say he's a bad streamer. He's a bad person in general, but he's certainly a terrible streamer.
Realistic and be more mature. So I did, but I'm not going to put up with people constantly complaining they don't like a certain genre of game when the whole point of the stream is to be interactive and they're ignoring me and just complaining about the game. That's ludicrous. That's immature. That's just, it's stupid. Alright? So
now, check this out. We're going to get into some meta shit here for a minute. So Phil is supposed to be a gamer, right? And he also wanted to be considered an upstanding person, or he wanted to be considered an influencer. He still does. But originally, he wanted to be considered a voice, an influencer, someone to be respected in the game community. But he used to shit on gaming companies, and he would shit on other YouTubers, as well as shitting on games. Consistently. He went out of his way to do it. If people found a game that they really, really liked, Phil would find a reason to be negative about that game. So, with that being said, Phil's sitting here saying that, you know what I'm saying, I don't want you to come here and shit on the game and not interact with me and not basically do anything meaningful when it comes to his streams. But Phil had been doing that his whole YouTube career. His whole online career. He sat there and bitched and complained about a bunch of dumb shit, and what did he actually have for a solution? What did he actually bring to the table that a developer or anybody who works for who's on the development team or the creative team could look at a DSP video and be like, you know what? That's a good point. I can take that back. Because it's been proven that developers and different types of creators for a lot of these game companies do follow people on YouTube, do follow people on Twitch, do follow people on Twitter who have a voice and who have a following, and more importantly, have some common sense when it comes to the problem with games and how to fix them. There's a whole section of Twitter that are just people who play games, who find problems with games, and then convey that to developers. There's a whole market for that. And they're always looking for new people to join that market. That's probably one of the most, it isn't the most, but it's one of the most inclusive communities, probably, at least gaming communities, at least on YouTube. And on Twitter, respectfully. And Twitch. You know what I mean? The point is that, but what has Phil ever brought to the table as a fix? Think about that for a minute. What has he really said to fix anything that was worth a damn, that had any real value to it? What, Street Fighter? Oh, he wants to play like 20-year-old Super Turbo? Think about it.
I was gonna lay down the law. Alright, I'm not gonna put up with this shit.
Or as you guys heard in the last broadcast, Call of Duty from 10 years ago? If not longer.
If people are gonna just sit here and complain constantly that they don't like Borderlands 3, you're gonna find a boot to your ass and you're gonna be out the door. All right, I get it. You don't like it. Come back later. As you know, I'm a variety streamer, and I play a ridiculous amount of variety of games. Ridiculous amount of variety of games, right? I play every genre. So I don't want to hear that because you don't like a certain genre that you're sitting here and you're bored instead of actually talking to me and having fun and making it fun, just sitting here complaining about the game. Grow up. Alright? Just being very upfront and honest. Now, it's not everyone. Obviously, it's not everyone who's doing this. But there have been a group of people who have been like this for the past, week or two that I've been playing this game, and I'm tired of it.
But what happened when he used to play what he likes to call Japanese-centric games, right? And this is back when Patreon was prevalent, because most of those games were voted, or heavy, the kind of Japanese narrated games. Those games right there were heavily voted on Patreon. And what was the reason why he ended up stopped playing those games for a while? Oh, it was hurting my voice. Oh, my voice hurts. I'm tired of all this narration that I have to do. All this voice acting that I have to do. I don't want to do that anymore. But then this year, and in truth, some of last year too, but he's been trying to get back into it so he can bring that crowd back. That crowd's gone. That crowd is gone. When it came to Patreon's choice, I think the individuals who really shot for those type of games made up like 80% of the people who contributed to Patreon. Those people are gone, Phil. They've been gone a long time because your dumbass let Patreon money, free money, basically just slip through your goddamn hose because you're an idiot. Now, granted, ladies and gentlemen, he's still making his $400 or $500 on Patreon each month. Good for him. He's right there where Spoonie is. You know what I'm saying? He has a bunch of people that are on auto pay, and that's why he makes pretty close to the same amount each month. Good for him. But if he had took care of Patreon when he had it, instead of trying to abandon it to do fundraisers on Twitch, he wouldn't be in the situation he's in now. Just my thoughts, though. DSP News.
I'm gonna put up with their bullshit. It really is. It's little kitty bullshit is what it is.
I'm a joke. I don't do anything productive. I'm a negative, toxic guy. And everything about me is just laugh jokes, right?
Now, the one thing that I didn't address, if you haven't noticed, I didn't talk about Code Vein at all. That's because I'm on the fence about Code Vein. I played the beta, and people who watched the beta pretty much didn't seem to be impressed. I wasn't, let me put it this way, I wasn't disappointed, but I also wasn't blown away by it. It seemed like it would be a fun and decent game, but I don't know if it would be anything revolutionary that people are really going to care too much about. I hate to say it, but there's been so many Dark Souls-esque style games coming out in the last 2 years, trying to basically jump on the popularity of that game formula, that I think the whole genre has been kind of watered down at this point, and it's hard to care. It really is. It's just hard to care about the genre. I'm not that into it. I like Dark Souls and From Software games, but I don't need to play 5 of these difficult games every year. I just don't see the point of it.
Maybe because people are tired of seeing Dark Souls, and maybe they just want to see a variation of it. It's funny how you say, oh, if you don't like this genre of game, then come back and watch me play something else. But maybe, just maybe, if you play something else except for the well-known AAA titles, and was willing to be a bit more open-minded and branch out to some of the other games that's in that genre, whether you consider it a Dark Souls ripoff or not is kind of irrelevant when you're dependent on people to come and watch your streams and give you money. You should be willing to play it, but you want to sit there and equate everything to, oh, if it's not Dark Souls, I don't want to play it. Which is another closed-minded statement by, apparently, our registered genius here. Do as I say, not as I do. You just heard it, basically. And someone else is willing to buy it more often than not. So who cares? Just play it. You play Dark Souls terribly. And look at how many times he's played that. He plays that game horribly. When you have Wings of Redemption, who is more of a shooter, is more of a first-person shooter type individual, coming in and trying to give you tips, there's something wrong with it. Because Wings actually enjoys playing Dark Souls and those type of games, and enjoys kind of just the exploration of it all. So when he comes in and tries to give you help, and you ignore it because you know what the advice he's giving you is the same advice that's been given to you before, and you just don't want to hear it, that should tell you something. Maybe you need to stop playing fucking Dark Souls and play something else. He's not that smart, you see.
And so it surprised me because people like when I played Dark Souls and or anything from Software, but when I played the Code Vein beta, no one seemed to really care that much about it. They were like, it's not that good. So, like I said, I really don't think I'm going to go crazy, playing this game if people aren't going to be too excited about it. All right. Oh yeah, that's true too.
Most people aren't too excited for the AAA titles that you pick now. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like he's so scared to take a chance unless it's something that he really, really wants to do, and then gets mad that no one supports it. But then when he sees something that people are kind of on the fence about, and that's really all in his own head, I would guess, because I don't know if anybody's actually come out and said, "No, Phil, I don't really want you to play this." And if that is the case on a game that he's unsure about, he'll take that one person and blanket statement and use that as the measuring stick, I should say, for everybody else on the stream. That, oh, well, because this one person said that he doesn't think it's very good and I'm already on the fence about it, all of you guys say that, so I'm not going to play it. Who thinks like that? DSP does.
I said, oh yeah, did you know Surge 2 also came out? Yeah, see what I mean? In the last month, we had Remnant, Surge 2, now we got Code Vein, and I think there was another one too, so in 1 month, 4 Dark Souls-like games came out. Gee, I wonder why people are burnt out and think it's oversaturated and don't really care anymore. So anyway, yeah, I'm completely on the fence.
Well, how many times do you replay Dark Souls each year? Yet again, maybe you're the reason maybe you're the one who causes the burnout. Maybe you need to stop replaying Dark Souls over and over again and play one of these other new titles instead. Hey, it's kind of Dark Soul-ish. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it'll be fun. Why don't you just do that? Mr. Open-mindedness. Or Mr. I want to be open-minded. You all need to be open-minded, I should say. Like, he gets mad that he gets called out.
About Code Vein, quite frankly, unless a bunch of people come out and say, we really want to see you play it, I'm probably not playing it. You know, I want to focus in on Zelda and Borderlands. I want more coverage of the Genesis Mini. We got some special events and things coming up this week, so we got more than enough stuff to fill time right now. Then worry about Dark Souls clone games. Okay?
Oink, 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 I'm a pig.
Now, by the way, I will say this. There's been a few, there's been some undue attention.
And here's another thing, too. Real quick. When it comes to this whole variety streamer type thing, it's not helping him. I don't know if he says that because he looks at it as just a title or a signature that he can kind of patch on to the DSP brand, if you will, under the DSP Enterprise brand to make it seem like he's more than what he is or what. But it doesn't actually help him. There's no benefit that comes from doing it this way. I would think he would be smart enough to realize that. There's no true benefit that comes out of any of this. At all. He's only hurting himself. And he's doing it in the most blatant way possible, if one can be honest. This is just stupid. This is just blatantly stupid that someone would think it's a smart idea to conduct themselves like this. Whatever.
Last few days, I guess. I didn't even know about this, really. And, you know, people covering that is actually not negative, in my opinion. Like, I guess there was a particular video on YouTube yesterday that got a good of attention because it's a pretty much a popular YouTuber making videos about drama stuff on the internet, and I guess I was involved in one of them. And he actually made a pretty positive video about me, in reaction to some stupid shit that's happening.
He's talking about quarter pounder, talking about that whole cancel culture situation. He's not even the only person to do it. It's a Gundam made a video. Rich from Review Tech USA made a video, and what's my dude's name? I watch him every once in a while. Oh, Yellow Flash 2 made a video about that. And all those guys, well, Yellow Flash could kind of be linked to that whole Monday Matt bullshit because Monday Matt tried to flag one of his videos down. I'm pretty sure it was Yellow Flash who had one of his videos attempted to be flagged down. That was by Monday Matt. Rich is rich, so you know what that's about. The quartering or quarter pounder, I mean, he is what he is. It's probably a slow news day for him, and It's a Gundam kind of delves in and out of DSP stuff and whatnot. So there's 4 different people who made videos on him. So are you telling me that out of all those videos, Quarter Pounders was the best one? Was he the one who didn't mind giving you extra cheese and bacon? Like, what's the deal?
Most of you probably have no idea what's going on. Even I didn't know what was going on. You guys know me. I just sit here and I just talk about games. And I have fun with games. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. Apparently there was a few, I don't even know how to say it. I guess like some indie journalistic outlets. You can't even call them news outlets because that's not even what they do. They're just like base dirt rags. And they were trying to like get me in trouble or something with Twitch, which I'm not going to. I never violated any Twitch rules. They were basically making shit up because they didn't like the fact that I have opinions about jokes and stuff, and humor that they don't agree with because they're like ultra progressive or whatever, I guess. And they took offense at some stuff that I said, and I guess a few of these pretty much negligible, nonsensical, and completely what's the word I'm thinking of? The insignificant news outlets were trying to like make fun of me.
Well, I think I'm toxic now.
And so a YouTuber made a video about it that was basically kind of a positive light. I'm okay with that, Like, it was actually, because someone would say, oh, I guess you can't bring that up. Well, no, you can. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know any of this was going on at all. And this YouTuber is not a negative guy towards me at all. If anything, he's, like, supportive. He's like, does he love my content? Of course not. He's one of the people who watches it ironically. That's fine. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
So you're just going to grasp at every little thing? Even though in the Gundam video, he was trying to be, at least as it pertains to the joke aspect of it, he was trying to be on Phil's side about it, but he eventually let that shit go because you can't. Like, Phil is too good at talking himself into the grave that why would anybody want to pull him out? And that's what this really comes down to. Either you're there to laugh at it, and then you see a point that, okay, maybe we should give Phil a little bit of leeway on it, and then Phil sticks his gout-ridden foot into his mouth again, and you're like, all right, I gotta let this go because it's not even worth it. You just killed whatever momentum I was gonna give you. Or you just go ahead and poke through that bullshit, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You can't say that it's okay to make jokes about other races, but you can't make fun of my gout and my snorting. That makes no fucking sense. Not at all. I might have something in the works for that, by the way.
Some people must not realize this, but when I started on YouTube, I was trying to be as ridiculous as possible. I would drink when I played games. I would say the most
And that was how long ago? 11 years ago? So why the fuck do you keep going back to that point? Why are we trying to grasp some shit that happened back in the goddamn Stone Ages when it comes to the internet in some way, shape, or form, right? When you're the one that keeps talking about the modern era and how people need to be, you guys need to be more, be open-minded. You guys need to understand that if this game isn't very good, you need to give me a pass on it. You need to work with me. It's funny how when it comes to anything negative towards Phil, you guys need to work with him. This is the modern era. This is how things are run, despite the fact that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to any of that. But when it comes back to him making and saying just stupid shit, especially when it has public, when you get some people who get their hands on it in the online media and whatnot, all of a sudden he wants to jump back to 2008, 2009 and be like, oh, well, I was a racist back then, but it was okay too because everybody else was racist too. You know what I'm saying? Or everybody else made fun of other races and no one thought that was a big deal, despite the fact that he has plenty of videos out on the Dark Side Phil channel where he talked about all the people that he had to ban or he had to block because they didn't like what he said or they didn't like what he was doing. Isn't that interesting?
Possible things.
That's the definition of a drama queen. Seriously. Anything for this, right?
I wasn't being serious or anything. I was just trying to be entertaining and be crazy over the top when I started. And that's how this whole thing kind of started, is me being a parody of people trying to do serious videos on YouTube, because I was never taking it seriously. I don't care about people who think about me that way. Alright? So, that being said, I don't want people bringing up people who steal my content, people who insult me and do malicious things to myself and my family, but you want to bring up a topic like that? That's different. Phil, can we talk about something that's pertinent, going on behind the scenes, that someone's covering? Sure, that's fine. I'm always okay with that. But I think some people seem to get this weird feeling that they can't bring up certain things because they think that because there's negativity directed towards me that it's not something that's a topic of discussion.
Because he's almost implying that he'd be willing to give up, he'd be willing to talk to somebody as it pertains to his situation. But didn't the drunken peasants already try to offer that to him and he turned them down? So what was his reasoning behind that? Especially when you find out that the head, not the leader, but one of the majority of the members, if not all of them, of the Drunken Peasant podcast wanted to have Phil on to show that he wasn't a lolcow, to show that there was more to him than just the laughingstock that he is, which they would have been wrong about. They would have been wrong. And Phil still proved them wrong when he didn't show up and came up with his lame brain fucking reasoning for why he didn't do it. Excuse me. So either which way, why didn't he talk to them? Because they didn't bend over backwards to be sympathetic to his cause? They don't have to be. They think what you do is stupid, but they wanted to show that there was some depth to you. and you completely piss that shit away. Huh. I guess we'll have to see how that plays out.
That's possible. That's not the case at all, actually. Okay? But anyway, that being said, we don't want to bring up the toxicity, right? We don't want to bring up the blatant, over-the-top crazy shit. That stuff's not allowed on my streams.
Last thing before we get to shout-outs. Please, guys, if at all you can, please consider tipping me today. Tipping me helps me more than anything. Why am I toxic? More toxic. Especially right now. This next week is incredibly important. Not only do we have multiple special things coming up, including Ask the King and the retrospective event, this is my last opportunity of the month to raise as many funds as possible to get myself in a situation so I'm not in financial turmoil and risk early next month when all my bills come due. So please, consider contributing via tips if at all you can. That's the preferred method of contribution because I can use those for bills right away. And I need to build up as much support as I can in the next week to prepare for the coming month's bills. Please, contribute if you can. All right? This has become a very consistent and very, good way to make money.
Coots TV took me $1 as my last dollar, Phil. Make it count. Well, there you go. Thank you, Coots, for the tip. And then he did a $5 tip, so obviously he lied. That was not his last dollar. He was holding out. He said one thing and then immediately tipped more. And he tipped me $5, says, don't ever leave us. I don't plan on going anywhere. It's like I said, even in the future, if and when I decide to stream less because I can finally afford to do so, I still want to do it. I just don't want to do it as crazy, full-time commitment, no time for free time kind of a thing like I do now. But I wouldn't want to stop doing this. I find it very fun and entertaining and fulfilling. So,
key word was if, or a key phrase, if and if and willing. Now, here's the real question, or the real thing that I want to point out of all that. He initially told us, this Mommy Burnell told him about the 10-year plan, whatever. It's going to probably be 15, and that's probably when they're going to expire. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Here's something, though, that just kind of had me start thinking a little bit. If Phil is going to keep doing this until he gets himself out of debt, and then either Mommy and Daddy no longer are with us, or he can refinance his home, either which way, it's kind of like a circle, because either way, one's going to cover another. I'll get into that at a later time. It sounds to me like he just wants more free time in general. I don't think he's talking about getting an actual job. I think, look at it this way. Now I have no choice but to go back to it. So look at it this way. Let's say, for example, that this actually does, this whole streaming nonsense can actually work, and it's able to pay down most of his debts until, like I said, either something happens to Mom and Dad, or he can refinance his home. And let's say it holds off until he can refinance his home. Okay, fair enough. He takes that money, pays off all of his debts, right? Pays off all of his debts and commitments, meaning to the condo, credit cards, business loans, all that bullshit, as well as the loan on his home. He pays everything off, hopefully clean and clear, at least for the most part. Mainly just his credit card debts and the business loans. And the condo, if he's smart, if he can get enough out of it. Then he sits back and just waits until Mommy and Daddy, basically fall out of the picture. Then he can use that money to cover what he would owe back on his mortgage, and then he's done. He's clean and clear. Either which way that whole situation plays out, there'll be a major lift financially taken off of Phil. Which means that he wouldn't have to work nearly as hard, because he would have, if you would want to think about it, it's rather brutal, but that's kind of what I do here. He has guaranteed money in the wings. He just needs enough money to cover his regular bills, and then the rest of the money, him and Catherine can go out and do what they want. And I think that's what he's actually alluding to right here. He just needs enough money to get him to the first payday out of the two, right? Once that payday comes through, then he can go back to spending again. And he doesn't have to do this nearly as much. I would think he would drop down to 5 days instead of streaming 6. And he might give up on 1 or 2 of the night streams, because then he has more time to relax and chill. And then him and Catherine can go out and spend, not necessarily to their heart's content, but they can do more, if you will. Because I would assume that Catherine's getting restless in that house, not really doing anything at all except for one day a week, allegedly going out and running errands. So I'm thinking that's what the plan is. There's not going to be a part-time job in this. There's not him going back to school or trying to, go back into his field. He's not going to try to start from the bottom up. He doesn't need in his mind, he doesn't need to do that. He's already past that. He's already better than that. Right now, it's just trying to get himself into a financial situation where some of the larger bills are alleviated, knock out all of his credit cards, because as you know, he lives off credit, and then he can kind of coast for a couple years. That's my guess. Or until another platform, he's still holding out for Twitch's video sharing platform to come out so he can basically do that. None of that's going to ever happen. Or at least it's not going to happen the way he's thinking. But if I had to guess, that's what that situation is.
Well, my stream chat is frozen. I'm actually looking at my desktop, my stream chat's working, but for some reason on my laptop, my stream chat completely froze.
By the way, hint, hint.
So, hint, hint, hint.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint, hint. Hint, hint, hint.
Mark McCauley says, hint, hint. Dude, no hint, hint. I'm outright telling you, I really would appreciate some help via tipping.
So, I need to refresh that. So, please bear with me, guys, while I try to fix this. I can't respond to anything you guys are saying or doing until I fix this, so... Stupid fucking thing. Come on. Oh my god, it's completely locked up. Wow. I think my laptop is completely locked up. Nothing is responding. Ugh. Come on, man. It's so ridiculous. The only thing I use my laptop for is having a browser open so that I can supervise the stream chat and I can supervise Streamlabs contributions as they come in. That's it. I'm not doing anything else on my laptop, and this thing regularly just craps out on me. Can you imagine what a...
Now, let's talk about that for a minute. One... Shouts out to Declan Reed on this, because he reached out to me and he kind of helped point this out to me, because I've been off the grid for a minute. One, I'd already told you that the laptop was going to be coming. It's a thing. Two, he wants it to be used just for the stream chat, basically so you can give him money, and he can see the chat so he can ban you for those lean-in manuals. That's all he really wants the new laptop for. Three. Declan said that someone that Phil, at the time that I'm recording this, by the time you guys are hearing this, it'll be days later. But at the time that I'm recording this, that some people either surmise or they saw that a new laptop showed up on that Amazon wish list, and almost as quickly as it showed up, either it was taken off or removed by Phil, or it was purchased. Almost just that quick. So, like I said, that's just a theory. So keep that, not a Theo theory, but it's just kind of a theory. So keep that in mind. That he may have already received the new laptop, or someone is already talking about they'll purchase it. So keep that as a thing. Now let's talk about his old one. That same laptop that he's admitted to never updating any of the drivers on, never updating any of the software on, never updated any of the antivirus on it, none of those things. Now he says, oh, well, I only use it for Twitch. I don't really browse the internet browser for anything else, so there's no need to do so, despite the fact that we had the flappening twice, which came off of that laptop. I meant that pun when I said it. The laptop, even with older laptops, they're going to run slow eventually. They're going to have its issues, but Phil never updated his. He may have never updated anything on it from a software standpoint. None of the drivers are up to date, none of those things. His desktop is probably just as bad. And he's even said that he doesn't update software on his laptop or his desktop because they work the way they work right now just fine. And if he updates the drivers or anything, that all that's going to do is mess with his settings, and then he has to go through the apparently tremendous trouble of going through and putting his settings back to the way they were, probably because he can't remember what the settings are in the first place. They're probably all on default and you don't even know it. He doesn't want to go through the trouble of resetting everything back to the way he needs it to be. So you think introducing a new laptop into this pig-like ecosystem is going to be a good fucking idea? That right there is a waste of money. Even if it's only a $200 or $300 laptop, I can't remember which one. I think Declan said it was between $200 and $300, or he implied anyway. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Whoever's doing this, you're wasting your money. That's all I'm going to say. You're wasting your fucking money doing that. Please don't do it. You are wasting your money. I promise you. I promise you. But this is what the point of the Amazon wish list was from the jump anyway. So we were always going to come to this conclusion. It was always going to come down to this. And he's been bitching about his laptop before he talked about that Amazon wish list. So he was already doing the hint before the laptop even became a thing. So keep that in mind.
Laptop this thing is, you know.
Dude, no hint. I'm outright telling you, I really would appreciate some help via tipping.
When I first bought it, I mean, this is the truth. When I first bought this laptop, I thought I was going to be able to do video editing on it. I thought I was going to be able to play games on it. Boy, was I sadly mistaken. I got completely ripped off.
I'm a mature adult with a business degree.
By Best Buy. I'm not surprised. I went to Best Buy one day. This was in I want to say it was 2012. It might have been 2013, but I think it was 2012. So, you know, back when I actually had money to do stuff. And that was when, previously, I'd always used an Alienware laptop. That was a cheap one that was breaking on me. It was like one that I had gotten for like $500 years and years ago. And the hinges on the laptop broke. And so every time I tried to open the laptop, the whole thing would start cracking apart. I was like, I think I need a new laptop. But I didn't want to spend a ton of money, so I went to Best Buy.
Because, like I said, he can't take care of anything. He really don't. I bet you anything he was just flinging that laptop open each and every goddamn time like a fucking idiot. And eventually the hinges went down on him. Or went out on him. Maybe. That's just one way of looking at it. But he doesn't know how... But it's been proven, tried and true, that he doesn't know how to take care of anything. So I wouldn't be surprised that it broke.
To see what they had at the time. And they offered me, of course, an open box, redone laptop. You know, we reformatted it. We redid this laptop.
I mean, refurbished.
It's a really good one.
You fell for it. Congrats. You fell for the marketing scheme.
You know, Samsung, widescreen, has a built-in disc player. So if you want to, you know, boot programs or music CDs or regular DVDs, you can do that. It's already built in. A lot of laptops don't have that in this day and age. You know, they basically sold me on it. Had a good processor and has a built-in graphics card and all kinds of bullshit, essentially. And in reality, the laptop's a lemon. Like, it runs really slow. It's a piece of crap. I still remember the first week that I moved out here in the summer of 2014. It's over 5 years ago. I put the laptop down on my office floor, hooked it up to the internet, and I said, I just want to use the webcam to do, like, a broadcast to talk with you guys about my new house. And it was the worst thing ever. Choppy as fuck. It was just terrible. And this was on my full quality internet at the time, business level internet. It wasn't the internet, it was the laptop. Couldn't even handle it. It's like, Jesus, man. This laptop fucking sucks. And
Keep in mind, he probably didn't go into any of the settings at all and try to tweak anything either, so keep that in mind.
It's slow as shit. It just has all these issues. You know, I've used it every day, essentially, since I bought it, that I've made content. But I use it for the most simple
And yet again, he could have bought a new laptop 2 or 3 years ago and never did it.
thing. So you would think that, like, it wouldn't be a big issue, but apparently for this laptop, everything's an issue. By the way, I'm still trying to reload Twitch on the laptop. I'm not kidding. I've been talking for about 5 minutes about this now, and it's still not loading Twitch. That's how bad this laptop is.
Please, give me your money. Let the green roll in.
So I'm continuously trying to reload, and once it reloads and I get the chat open, we can continue. I apologize for this holdup, everybody. If anything, I'm just glad I don't need a laptop for anything important. You know what I mean? Like, in this day and age, you don't really need a laptop for much. I only use it as a second screen to see stream chat and stuff like that. Because if I actually needed this to do anything, I'd be dead in the water. So thank God I don't really need it for anything important. Yeah, that's a good thing. Like, Kat and I, when we went to Connecticut in April, we were like, should I bring the laptop? And I brought it, and then I never used it. Because anything we wanted was on our phones, or the television in Connecticut, in the place we stayed, had built-in apps like Hulu and Netflix. So since we had Hulu and Netflix subscriptions, we got to watch anything we wanted from those services through the TV there. We didn't need the laptop to watch anything. It was damn good. We were like, damn, this is modern technology. You don't need this shit anymore. So it was really awesome. I was like, damn.
He does realize that most television, especially smart TVs that have been around for quite a while, have had all these things for a long-ass time, right? Or, like, he could do all that through his consoles, too, right? Or there are people, or there are actually devices that most hotels and whatnot have that do that exact same feature. You can't do it directly through their TV or through their smart television. He does realize that, right? See, this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you're a fucking shut-in. and you don't go out and do anything. And then, yeah, it's funny how with the multiple subscriptions to all these different things, he dropped cable because it was too much. Then he had like PlayStation Television or whatever that was called. He dropped that. Now he has what? Hulu. He has Netflix. I thought he actually was using Amazon Prime for a while. Actually, he does have Amazon Prime. So and I think that TV service is kind of wrapped up in it, I think. So he has that. And he has WWE Network. Something to think about. But he does. I know for sure he has Amazon Prime because he talked about it many times. And they have a streaming service too through that.
I really don't need this thing anymore. You know, essentially this laptop, like I said, this laptop's a second screen. At some point, I could, and I'm going to have to do this eventually. This laptop's going to die someday, you know. I don't know when it's going to happen. But when it dies, I'm just going to have to go get an El Cheapo laptop. And I could get something essentially for like $200, $300 tops.
What? I don't have money to pay off my credit cards. So, you know, this is money that I used to easily have flexibility, and it's gone. Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. But it's tough. It really is tough. Like right now, I'm being honest with you guys. I have no money. My bank account is empty. I'm good at lying.
That's probably just like a netbook. You know what I mean? All I need to do is open up Streamlabs and open up Twitch chat. That's all I need it for. So I could use any kind of laptop. I'm just going to be getting a screen that's big enough I can see it. But outside of that, you know, it's fine. So.
And no, I'm not looking to fundraise a new laptop. Now, I just got Stream Chat open. Immediately, I see people saying, he's trying to fundraise a new laptop. No, I'm not.
It's funny how as soon as he gets a negative response, all of a sudden his chat works. That was quite the coinky dink, wasn't it? Jinkies.
Fuck you. You're a liar. Trust me. The last thing I need to do is putting money towards something that I don't really need. I need to pay my bills is what I need to fucking do. So that's not...
Just told us how he's gonna need one. Then all of a sudden, I don't need it. I need that money for bills. Fucking idiot. A fucking idiot. Oh my god. And this, like I said, this goes back to something I said in a previous broadcast about, what was that? Plague Tale. He pulled a similar piece of shit move with Plague Tale. The game was like either 40 or 50 bucks. It might have been 60, but I thought it was like 40 or 60, between 40 and $60. He somehow squeezed out like $500, almost $700 out of these people off that one game and still didn't buy it till the very last minute. Keep that in mind.
What this is about, I'm just killing time until I can get this working, which it now works. So now we can move on. All right, so thank you. Wow.
Also, I think he did that. He probably lied, if I had to guess. He probably did that just to see how chat would react to him not being able to see it and who was going to get away with what. Phil's just enough of a slime ball to do something like that.
I guess when this whole thing was going
and paranoid.
On, an anonymous tipper just tipped me $50. Oh my god, I can't believe it. It actually worked. It worked out for me.
BattleDuck 9000, what's going on, man? Just resale for 33 ongoing months. And BattleDuck 9000 says the following. I might not show up for your live streams, but I watch it on YouTube. Don't worry, I don't plan on unsubbing from your Twitch anytime soon. Keep on trucking. Yeah, BattleDuck used to show up to streams all the time, but apparently had something going on in life that they can't attend the streams anymore. So they go to my YouTube channel, Dspgaming, where I upload the archives every day, and they watch there. And I should call that...
Did you really have to pig-splain all that? I think it was pretty straightforward what he said. Unless you're talking to him behind the scenes, which means you're starting to divulge shit that's none of anybody else's business anyway. Makes you wonder, don't it?
Because I don't always talk about that. If you can't check the streams out, you can always watch the archive on Dspgaming. Now, I appreciate those who come by and either still sub or still contribute to the streams, because there are thousands of people, and I mean this, thousands.
Well, that was way too much. The thing erupted on me. There must have been an air pocket in it. That's not cool. But we could salvage it. Look at that. Just put a little bit on top. There's going to be way too much on the bottom, and I'm going to have to avoid that blotch right there, because I obviously didn't want that to happen.
And thousands of people who watch my videos on YouTube, but they think that ad revenue, like, is enough to support my existence. And fuck no. Ad revenue on YouTube is almost insane.
I told you. I told you. I waited for this moment. For him to confirm what I said earlier. Remember how I said that he wants people to pay him just to exist? He just confirmed it himself. That's all this is. That whole play games, have fun, all bullshit is just that. It's bullshit. Merely pay me money to exist. And YouTube's not doing that. So you're going to have to crowdfund me if you want me to continue to exist. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Mainly non-existent at this point. I really do rely on your contributions during streams to keep going. So please, if you're watching this pre-stream exclusively on YouTube, and you're a frequent YouTube watcher, please understand, if you can, please come by to a stream and contribute, or even if you look in the description of this video, there should be a link to tipping me. Please consider just leaving a tip if you can. You know, just being frank.
Well, yet again, this is why he's an idiot. People on YouTube, if he was smart all those years ago, which is really back in like 2016, 2017, right before he jumped, 2017 was when he jumped shipped over there to Twitch. He would implore the people that are on YouTube who really have no desire to go to the Twitch. That's really what it's coming down to. Who have no desire to go to Twitch or just can't, to please contribute to my Patreon. I still need to hit the $1,250, I think it was. I need to continue to hit the $1,250 a month. It does mean something. Please help me out. And then when it's time to do shout outs, thank you to everybody on Patreon. Just do one blanket statement like that, and it covers your bases. So at least the people on Patreon know that they're not completely forgotten. You know what I mean? But no, he wants them to come over to YouTube, or from YouTube to Twitch, basically from South Galtopia to North Galtopia, and give him money there. Pay their tributes over there in person, or go ahead and tip him through the link where you can send him a tip, or you could just go to darksidephil@hotmail.com and donate to his PayPal that way. Which, who knows how much money he makes off the cuff doing it that way. Makes you think. It makes you think, right? Silly shit, man. Like I said, if he was smarter, or if he was a little bit more open-minded himself, he would keep plugging Patreon, but direct it mainly towards YouTube. Hey, I'm archiving all my stuff here on YouTube because I know you guys have been here with me for a very long time. Problem is YouTube doesn't pay me as well. So, YouTube doesn't pay the bills anymore. So I have to do what I have to do over here on Twitch, but I haven't forgotten about you guys on YouTube. So please continue to support me the way you guys always have, which won't be ads anymore, sadly. If you click an ad, great, but if not, no big deal. Because he doesn't have a problem with telling people to interact with the ads. But please consider supporting my Patreon. Patreon has been here and has been tied to my YouTube for a very, very long time. I very much appreciate all your support. The goal is still $1,250, and despite the fact that the goals aren't as interactive as they used to be, it still allows me to keep doing what I'm doing, and in turn, it keeps giving me, it's a reason for me to keep going, and in turn, giving me the incentive, or giving you guys an incentive, to continue to keep watching me on YouTube. Because I will continue to archive everything that I do on Twitch to YouTube. Or you can word it, you can flip it any type of way you want, but that's kind of like the vanilla flavor of it all, to be honest. I don't want to put enough effort into it to make it something elaborate. But he could pull it like that, and it's clean, it's as clean and clear as you're going to get, to be honest. But what are you going to do?
YouTube does nothing anymore. Like, most videos you probably won't even see ads on anymore. The ads you see on videos probably is because someone content ID claimed that video. It's pretty much non-existent, alright? So please, consider contributing if you can. If you're a YouTube watcher as well, it helps out. It really does, okay?
Oh my god! That is disgusting. Disgusting beggar. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money. Blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone. Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. By eBay.
Indeed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and clean up a little bit. Thank you yet again, Snort Burnell. I very much appreciate it. And let's see how we're going to start this up. Give me just a second.
It's so lovely when you act like you love me. You must think it's funny when I smile your way. I need something.
Alright, so that's how Just making sure the cleanup's going by well. Okay, so how do we break this down, ladies and gentlemen? As it pertains to the laptop, that was already been called. It is what it is. I'm sure other people have said that too. It only made sense. And like I said, the new consoles will be next. I'm anxious to see how he's going to get people to give him the new consoles. He's going to have to start that early. Like, he should be campaigning for, what's the first console that's coming out? That'll be the Scarlet by Microsoft. He better start campaigning for that shit back in like November. November, December, he better start campaigning for that shit. Because I think it drops in like February. I don't know, first quarter of 2020. So he better campaign for that shit. And he better start doing it quickly. Especially if there's going to be multiple models of it. He's going to say he's going to want the bare minimum one. But then he's going to be like, oh, well, I got the new television, so I got the better quality. You'll see. Just give it to watch me. Continue to watch me work. He'll eventually pull it. So that's a thing. The whole situation with the cancel culture or cancel DSP, I'll go over a video over that. I'll have one that's dedicated completely to it. So don't even. I'll have an expose about that whole shit. Because there's like 4 videos out there, and those, I think it's the only real 4. There might be a few more, but it's really those 4. Those are the ones that I'll probably go over. So look out for that when that comes about. It'll be late. You know how I do. Complaining about Borderlands 3. Can you be surprised? Can you be surprised? I mean, it's nothing wrong with the game. It's Phil. Also, to talk about that drama video, what it comes, I'm really interested in how he's going to play that out, because it's starting to sound like he's willing to talk to somebody to give his side of that story. But that would be really shitty, because the Drunken Peasants tried to give him that opportunity like early middle this year, and he didn't take advantage of it. So now all of a sudden he wants to do it. That's asshole-ish. That's very fucking asshole-ish, if that ends up being the situation. Let's see here. The Borderlands situation. It is what it is. He should have played co-op. It could have been an inclusive interactive stream. He could have had the people that he was co-oping with go ahead. He could bounce off of them a little bit. He could have the audience ask them questions. Sorry, he doesn't look at them as an audience. They don't have value. He could have people in his cult ask them questions. He relays. Sorry, the question. It could have worked out for everybody if he had played that smart, but he's not that smart. He's certainly not business savvy. So there you go on that. And then being nervous about the month of October. Of course he is. The reason why that is, I didn't say this earlier on, but I'm going to say it now, is because he remembers what happened last year. October, it's Tevin's fault. Thanksgiving and November. Oh, contributions are pretty good, but hopefully you guys really come out and help me in December, because, December is the end of the year and I got my taxes and I really need you guys to come out and support. December, complete and utter fucking failure. Complete failure. He had that one Christmas Eve stream, I think it was, or whatever that was. It was like right before Christmas. Completely failed. Said that he got sick because he was drinking on stream and he was so stressed out. Took that whole week off because he wasn't man enough to face the failure afterwards. Didn't pop back up until later on in that year, or like just before the new year. He's scared as shit that he's gonna fail again. He's scared. I promise you with every fabric that is woven into my cute and cuddly suit that he's scared of failing. I can almost guarantee it. So that's why we're hearing this thing in October now, or the beginning of October, or leading into the beginning of October, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm already late doing this too. That he's scared. He is scared shitless that this holiday season is going to screw up, and he needs this Halloween marathon to do well. He needs it to do well, because if not, it's going to end up just like last year. And no one wants to hear it's Tevin's fault 2 years in a row. No one wants to hear that, because it wasn't his fault the first time. It's damn sure not going to be his fault the second time. So look forward to that. And how his negativity or toxicity is driving away the paypigs. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. That was probably bait anyway, but Phil fell for it hook, line, and sinker, because he's not that smart, you see. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. A lot of rambling in this broadcast, but I'm glad I was able to convey a message. For the cancer culture video, I already have something in the works for that, so look out for that. It's gonna be a long one, but it should be. I'm actually gonna try to cover a lot of the bases. I want to be thorough on what people are really saying, So this way, when Phil gives you the spin job, which he's probably already doing, we can kind of debunk a little bit of that. Ladies and gentlemen, 2019 is the year of debunking the bacon. Don't ever forget it. 2020 probably will be too. So keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. I'll see you guys for the next broadcast, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network of Productions. For the Snort Report and SnortBucks Coffee, I am your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. And a broadcast. Oh, thank you yet again to Declan Reed, to Chio18, to Ghostly Winds. I will eventually be able to get Ghostly Winds back on to follow up on that interview. Hopefully I have everything squared away this time around. But Ghostly Winds has been a great help. And go out there and support all your detractors. Speaking of which, Agent Proper has made a very big announcement. I talked about it on the last 2 broadcasts before this. I'm going to actually make a video dedicated to that because I feel like it's important. So yeah, got a lot of work to do. But I certainly enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. I'll holler at you later. Peace.